Good morning, Folsom Field.
This is What the Buff, a CU football podcast for the frat bros, the girlies, and the gays.
Today, we're talking about the absolute butt shuckery that was the CU Nebraska game.
We'll hear some crazy stories about Lincoln on Lincoln action that went down at Memorial Stadium, and we throw in a little CSU slander for the not-so-big game coming up on Saturday.
So let's make like Ralphie and get this show running.
Do you want to win a free Jimmy John sandwich? I know you want to win a free Jimmy John sandwich.
Well, then be one of the first 5 people to comment, Jimmy John's is so yummy, on this episode's Instagram post, and we'll give you a free sandwich card to use at the Boulder, Louisville, or Longmont Jimmy John's is.
Thanks, Jimmy John's, for sponsoring What the Buff, and make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at What the Buff.
All right, let's get this show on the road, Mother Buffers. Okay. Welcome to another episode of What the Buff. I'm Lincoln Roach.
I'm Adair Touton.
I'm Tway Waff.
Are you Widowy Tway Waff?
No Widowy.
All right, so this week we are talking about week 2 of Colorado football.
Buffs traveled to Lincoln, Nebraska on Saturday to take on the Corn Huskers for a huge rival matchup on primetime television.
And it was a doozy.
It was rough.
You could say that.
The word that comes to mind
Poundage.
is bummer.
Oh, I was at
Or
bummer too. I was at bummer.
Poundage, bummer,
I was at bummer.
Loserville.
Poundage.
Yeah.
This sucked.
This suck.
I'm upset and I'm sad.
Why am I a CU fan this week?
I'm embarrassed.
I know. And
All the above.
We got beat by a Patrick Mahomes wannabe.
yeah.
Down to the towel.
Down to the towel,
And
down
the
to
GF.
the pregame
the walk,
jump,
the spit, the gum,
the
throw.
ugly facial hair.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Dude, he's a freshman.
But ugly, both of them.
Yeah.
He's so good. It sucks.
Yeah, he
So-
was awesome. He did such a good job.
If I was a Nebraska fan, I'd be proud, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just get going
Sweet, right into it, yeah.
on the game here. So off the bat, from our first play,
Started poorly.
What, Adair, you want to talk about this?
I guess, yeah. I mean, Buffs going 3 and out, and then a poor punt, which kind of, left highest rated recruits in history, star QB Dylan Raiola. He had great field position just off the bat.
I mean, it just got worse from there.
The ball just did not do it. Like, CU could not catch a single break.
No.
Not a single break. From the opening whistle, we talked about that horrible pick six that probably sealed the game in the first quarter.
Yep.
Like,
in
killed
the
the
first
momentum.
quarter,
Speaking
in the
of pick
relatively
six,
early part of the first
me
quarter.
and Lincoln both had to ask Trey what a pick six
No.
was.
Let's run this back real quick. I want you guys to understand that Lincoln is in the same room, allowed to ask Daddy Deion Sanders, primetime himself, questions because he's a football journalist. And this is the same 2 people that just walked into the recording studio and asked me what a pick six was today. I mind you guys.
So
About pick six for the past 2 days.
No,
for me.
Adair's been on
same.
pick six.
I've
She's
been on pick six. That's what I brought up when I came in here. Pick six. I was like, tell
But
me
when
what
she asked
it
me
is.
what it was today,
I thought it was a thing. Like I thought the pick six was like the spread. It was like something you could gamble
I do
on.
I get like you guys know do you guys know what a safety is?
Yeah, I know what
Yes,
a
I know what a
safety
safety
is.
is.
Okay. My girlfriend didn't know what a safety was. So,
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
We're doing a
We're
little
all
better.
right. We're all right.
We're doing a little better there. So, yeah, let's really get in because we got to start talking about Shador's performance. Not his finest game. I mean, that pick six, it was his fault. You know?
I'm just gonna kind of say like he played terrible.
He did play
He was
terrible.
not
Yeah.
a leader at all. We said last week all we needed was a leader. We needed a hero. He looked scared. He looked like a chicken without his head cut off. He was running backwards. He was
Yeah.
he was going
Oh, yeah.
anywhere but forwards. And when he would throw the ball, every time I saw him, it was mostly out of bounds, running away from these guys that were chasing him. These guys came off. Nebraska, hats off to you. You guys did exactly what you were supposed to do. Your D line was screaming. They were almost as loud as I would say the atmosphere there. They gave him seconds, whereas Mr. Dylan. How do you say his name?
Raiola.
Say it again.
Raiola?
Ryle. Mahomes?
Mr.
Ryle.
Patrick.
Ryle.
Raiola
anyways.
Mahomes.
That guy, he had ample, if not like pull out a watch, look at it, read a book. He had time to make these plays, and
Yeah.
Shador didn't. That's what it comes down to. And
I mean, I think the whole game was honestly decided by CU's offensive line not being able to contain Nebraska's defensive line. Like that's
what O-line, Adair?
Yeah, what
What
O-line?
O-line? It would have been better to just throw a Ziploc bag out there.
I mean, hold on, guys. let's not just dog on our O-line here. Let's not forget about our D-line as well.
They were
Every
equally as bad.
line in this game was not lining.
Anything that came to the line of scrimmage was just bad. Like, and we okay, I'll take it back for a second. I didn't even see red or black or gold. All I saw was yellow. I saw 26 flags, Lincoln, and 3 ejections with the new targeting rules. I don't know if you guys know the new rules. They're kind of crazy, but
for some of the non, once again, I am a football sports writer here. For some of the non-football sports writers, could you explain that like you would to a child?
So pretty much, Lincoln, picture that you have a king's crown on the top of your head, right? If any point of that top of the crown here touches another player in your hit, that is an immediate ejection out of the game, pretty much. It's called a targeting hit.
Are you serious?
Yep. So they tried to call it late in the game. I think Nebraska, he like nudged his shoulder, the top of the helmet. They tried to eject him. They ended up not, which I thought was a great call by the referees.
Eject to the Nebraska player.
They tried to
or
throw out
Buffalo?
another. I think they tried to throw out another Nebraska player because 2 Nebraska players got thrown out and 1 CU player got ejected for targeting that game. But 26 flags, whether they were false starts, PIs. I think the refs, ultimately, there were a couple that I wish we could have got back as a CU fan, of course, and there was times when I was screaming at the TV a little bit too loud. But other than that, I think the stripes were pretty fair in their rulings, but there were just so many flags, guys. It was like, it was stop and go every play. It was unreal.
It was just a messy game.
It was messy, the fundamental.
I think you could say it was one of the worst games we've ever played.
Oh,
yeah.
I would say it was, we were
definitely top
scared.
5. Top 5 for sure under Dion. And so I want to touch on that scare factor. So as Trey kind of alluded to, so I was in Lincoln.
Lincoln and
Lincoln. And we'll get into the full story because it's nuts. Boy, do I have a story.
I can't wait to hear.
For Lincoln and Adair's friend. We're going to tell his story as well.
I have a great story too, yeah.
But while we focus on the game, I mean, you can't talk about this game without talking about the atmosphere that the Buffs were playing in.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, like I said last week, this is probably, or I think it was, the hardest place the Buffs have had to play in the primary.
Yeah. For reference, right, the press box that I sit in, because once again, sports writer here,
press guy,
who definitely knows what targeting is, and didn't think that the pick 6 was a gambling term. So we're sitting there, and there's a plate of glass right between you and the field, so it's pretty good at absorbing sound. It was still pretty loud. And then I wanted to go get some audio for this project I'm doing on the roof to capture the sound. And I mean, when I say it was deafening, we were up there probably 4 or 5 minutes just watching. I mean, it was gorgeous up there. And it was
so beautiful. It was
beautiful to hear it, weirdly enough. But after 5 minutes, we kind of left because my ears hurt.
Your ears are ringing?
Like
there was
that's how loud those fans.
There was 3 times on the TV that the announcers had to they got cut off by how loud some of the sections were when they were when that pick 6 happened, especially. I bet that place just erupted, right? I bet that it was like when that pick 6 happened.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to bring up was 2 things from the press box there. One, I got in a bit of trouble because when I watched that, I let out an audible, we'll say, what the buff.
What the buff? What the buff?
Mother Buffers.
Mother Buffers.
It was hard to maintain my journalistic unbiases there.
Your journalistic integrity.
My journalistic integrity watching a play like that. And the other thing was,
valid. I
mean, you could almost hear the glass shake a little. That's how much energy came in when you saw that. So anyways, we'll talk about some of the stories and some of the crowds later, but let's kind of move on to coaching. I want to talk about coaching just for a second here. I think Matt Rule, I have a lot of respect for him. Deion Sanders has a lot of respect for him. I think he coached an incredible game. I think what we haven't touched on is the Buffs second half that we did a whole lot better on. That said, even with that second half, I don't think we were going to win this game against Matt Rule. And here's why. Really good strategy. I think he could recognize that the game was won. It was his to lose. And so instead of just trying to rack up the points and risk, turnovers, he really just tried to waste the Buffs' time. and
His clock management was
yes,
impeccable.
it was
Yes, it was
incredible. It proved to be a very winning strategy, as you saw. We did get a touchdown and a field goal in that second half.
I don't think they scored against us in the
We
second.
kept
they-
them
and
scoreless
they-
too.
and we kept them scoreless.
in the second.
Weirdly enough, credit
Late.
to our D line. Funny enough, but
Kind of. He was sacked. Dylan Riley was sacked 0 times, as was Shador was sacked
Shador was
6
sacked,
times.
I
Six
think
times, yeah.
4
4
times
times
just
in
in
the
the first
first-
half.
4 times in the first, 2
Six
times in the
times.
second. Which once again, and not to praise the Buffs here, but to give them a little credit, that second half, right? You see only 2 times Shador got taken
Better.
down. Better, you see 0 points scored for Nebraska, and you see, 1 touchdown, 1 field goal for us. But I think the math is, if we did that,
It was the
Deflated.
pick
It
six.
killed us.
It killed
out the
us.
gate. Yeah, we were.
I would have killed to be a fly on the wall in that locker room during halftime. I mean, I cannot imagine the energy was.
What do you think that speech? What do you think What do you think the end of that speech had in it?
They came out riled up
Riled up.
when they came back. So I think, credit to Deion Sanders. He knows how to give a speech. I'm sure it was impeccable. He wouldn't talk about it in the press conference. He very much dodged the questions. I don't remember, because right now all I'm thinking about is right now.
It's hard.
Very Deion.
That is hard.
Very Deion saying, but
They
yeah.
are-
So
CU Buffs are definitely a second half team. They
Yes.
have always have been. We always respond better to other teams. This
Yep.
is just how it is. We need to figure out how to come out and punch those teams in the mouth like Nebraska did.
Exactly.
We need to start those games at that level that you said they came out at that halftime.
Yeah.
We don't need to be thinking. Also, I'm not gonna lie. If I had to do my math, being a sports guy, I'm gonna guess.
big
for those,
sports guy over here.
No, but being a sports guy, these people know that a lot of teams will rally around someone that gets hurt, and one of their huge people, Shiloh, did suffer a right forearm
Oh
injury
yeah, we need to
early
talk
into the
about
game.
this.
And I don't know. I think I saw on Twitter that his dad said he might be able to return back by the end of the season.
Yeah,
but
Prime was like,
his senior
"Thank you,
season
God."
might be gone, sadly. But I don't know if I'm taking him in there and my boy's getting hurt, like actually hurt,
Oh,
for
yeah.
real hurt, not just injured.
It's gonna pump you up.
You're gonna rally around that boy, and you're gonna go out there and be fired up and try to get
Yeah.
back for sure.
And while we're speaking on injuries here, we got to bring up Shador leaving the stadium 2 minutes
That
with
was a
play
scandal.
left. And so I know you guys were talking. Oh, it just looked bad, right?
It did. It looked. It's like a player taking off his helmet.
I
when he
mean,
scores a
yeah.
touchdown. Like, it's not needed.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if he was just upset at what was happening.
Well, so what I heard was actually, and this is just hearsay from the press room, that pretty much he was pulled for safety reasons, not
Because they were going to rush the field.
yeah, because they were going to rush the field, and he's the most identifiable player, obviously, and those Nebraska fans were riled up. There was no plan to
yeah.
rush the field.
200K on your wrist.
Yeah, they
And
were.
there's nothing else to do in Nebraska, but
They were not
Okay.
going to rush the field. They were not going to. But I was on the field as the game was wrapping up, and they were like, "All right, guys, we need to get you guys kind of away from the student section." Like they were clearing stuff just out of precaution because they knew, even though they weren't
Something
supposed
could
to.
have
They were
happened.
going
See that
to.
they ended up chaining 5 human beings to the goalpost so that Nebraska didn't end up taking them down because of how much it cost to put them back up.
They
No.
chained human beings
Yeah,
to it.
there was like
What?
4 people like the post is crazy. It's on ESPN. Like they were like chained around the neck of the goalpost, and they were like,
because
it was like
Nebraska
have you guys seen those protests with the art and the girls were like, you're
Yeah.
not taking down this tree. It was literally like that.
That's
it was
awesome.
literally like that, but with goalposts. And
That's insane.
I am the Lorex. I speak for the goalposts. That's honestly, I really like that.
at least they had each other, all
Yeah.
5 of them, right? They
Was
were
it Tennessee
Were they
who
holding
brought
hands
them?
too?
yeah, it was
Was
crazy.
it Tennessee a couple years ago who brought the goalposts all the way down to the river?
Yep, they carried it all the way down.
um,
I couldn't imagine being that like
Yeah.
we don't need to win that.
No. So let's kind of just.
It's not that
It's
deep.
dude.
It's not that deep.
It is
Long
not.
time to be carrying that. That's heavy.
It's
dude.
heavy.
So let's move back here. Just let's wrap up the Nebraska game here. Let's talk about Deion and Shador's kind of pressers post game. So first we'll play a clip here.
Because you were in there asking questions.
Lincoln got to talk to some of the biggest names at CU football, guys.
And he got to ask not
And he
one,
did
Some of
but 2 questions.
the biggest name. Sorry,
yeah.
I was
So
going to say you got to talk to Jimmy Horn Jr. too. That was awesome.
on Wednesday
That's
or on
super cool.
Thursday, but yeah. So at the press conference we had Deion come out, and so I asked him, and I know we've touched on this a lot, but I asked him what Nebraska did to kind of change things. I want to play the full clip here because you'll see he calls me my man.
Not just the,
My man.
my man. Lincoln is Deion Sanders' man.
Which,
How does that feel, Lincoln?
that is
you know,
What's
one
that?
of the greatest
The same
moments of
room as
my
you,
life.
Lincoln.
That's
I can
not
feel
even
it.
a joke.
Tell your
Tell Mom she'll.
Yeah, so like genuinely not a joke. And I'll
Children.
give context why. Everyone in that press box, like that went to the conference, they're all in like polos or like a hoodie or maybe like a button up, right? I show up in a suit.
the tan
You
suit.
know, I show up in this tan suit, real beautiful gold tie that has like mallard ducks on it.
Oh my
You know.
God.
And my strategy was like dress with style, get
Dress
the
to
question.
impress,
You
yeah.
know, dress to impress. There's only one man I'm
Good, feel
dressing.
good, do good.
There's one man I dress for in the morning, and his name's
Game's on the-
Deion Sanders.
Game's on the line. Lincoln's in his prime.
That was fire.
That was fire. So he calls on me, right? Because they're wrapping it up, and so I ask him essentially.
This is your second question.
This is
yeah?
my second question. First question, it was just about Shador. It doesn't matter. First question, or second question, I should say. I ask him, what did Nebraska and Coach Rule do this year to change their fate from last year? And you know, he went on a rant about just essentially positive things about Nebraska, and I think he could recognize it was just, even if they would have been in a great performance, it would have still been the odds stacked against them.
Play the clip. I want him to hear you say
so
my man.
we'll play the clip right now.
Or hear him say
Run the clip?
my man.
Yeah, let me ask my man there. He got his hand up.
Thank you, sir. Lincoln Roach, CEO Independent. So, obviously last year you won the rivalry. In what areas do you feel that this Nebraska team, especially under Coach Rule, improved in comparison to last year?
Well, they didn't turn the ball over. They didn't turn the ball over. I think we had one turnover. They another pick six. They didn't turn the ball over, and that was it. They made the plays when they needed to make. I mean, that darn should have been an interception that they ended up popping up and it caught. Like when something like that happens, you just got to take your head off and say, "Oh Lord, it's not our day, baby," because that stuff just don't normally happen. That was crazy. That was a heck of a play. Bentley did a great job, broke on the ball, did what everything he's supposed to do, but secure the catch. But he played his butt off, man. I'm proud of him as well.
So yeah, biggest takeaway from that question. Obviously, he praises Nebraska for their
He just
lack
looks
of
so
turnovers.
devastated.
But
He
He's
looks so-
depressed.
yeah, if you look at that,
That's
he
not
is,
our Deion, the way he's talking.
He was slain. He
He's
was
sad.
He looks conquered.
That is a man.
He
I mean,
was conquered.
he quite literally, you know, he just said, "It's not our day."
It's not our day.
He said
It happens,
in context
baby. It
to,
happened.
and he knew pretty on. I'm pretty sure he was talking about that after the pick six. He was like, you look at that and you just know it's not our
the
day.
ball was just not bouncing our way that day. You know,
Mm-mm.
Lincoln, to touch up what you just said, shouting everybody out. I think Nebraska came and did exactly what they were expected to do. You know, that we walked into their house, they defended it well. They ran their game plan to a T well. And as much as slanders we're gonna give him with the whole Patrick Mahomes Pit Vipers wannabe, he came out and performed. He put on a show.
And if that's
He
all
did
we
well.
have,
He did
come
well.
on.
But as a freshman, he's coming out of, I don't want to quote, but I'm pretty sure he's a junior out of high school, out of his junior season.
Is
Yeah,
he?
you were saying earlier. I heard I
think he
think
got
he's
picked up-
12 years old.
No, I think he just turned.
For context,
He just turned
earlier, as we were getting ready, Trey said, "quote I think he's
15 or
17,
16.
16 or 15."
He's definitely not 16.
I'm pretty sure you said
You said
16.
15. You started with 15, actually.
Yeah, you started with 15.
You should have seen me in Lincoln's face. We were like, what?
I was going to say something super out of pocket, but we're going to run it back.
Yeah, let's get it going.
He came out and did exactly what he was supposed to do. He came out and performed well. He put on a show. He, in front of, how many say, 86,000?
86,000, yeah.
He came out
86.
and, you know, we are giving
Corn Huskers.
we are giving him some slander that he's Patrick Mahomes, but he went out and performed like Patrick Mahomes, some crazy off his back foot throws. He went out, how many yards did he have it there? Does it say? He had an incredible game. I think he had two or three touchdowns too, correct?
Yes.
And he had an incredible game. He
185 passing yards.
185 passing yards.
Yeah, 185 passing
already
yards.
Coming out as a leader, you know, and
Oh yeah.
someone that Nebraska can depend on. You guys got to think about this. Like, Shador's going to be done this year, and he's got 3 more years to do this, to cook. You know,
Yeah,
he's already doing this good. That's terrifying. To
I really hate to say this. He's definitely going places.
yeah, sure. I think he needs to pave his own legacy and not be.
I don't know why he
taking it
wants
from
to
behind
be
his head.
Patrick Mahomes.
Definitely either. He's just.
I don't think Patrick Mahomes wanted to be Tom Brady. I think Patrick Mahomes wanted to be
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes wants to be Dylan.
I don't know. I hope that like somehow Patrick is like turned off
I just
by all
wanna
this
hear- I wanna
fandom and
hear,
this
like,
like
the video of when he
starts
walked-
talking trash about him.
How he went into the barber and was like, do you think he just showed a picture of Mahomes? Like, I want
think
it like this,
so.
dog.
Yeah.
What do you have,
so
the earrings too?
The earrings,
Down to the towel. Yeah.
His girlfriend kind of looks like his wife.
Yeah.
Like everything. It's weird.
No, it's-
I wonder what Patrick Mahomes thinks. Like, you think they're
if I were Patrick Mahomes, I'd be a little weirded out. I think I'd be weirded out.
Yeah,
But
It's
let's
weird if
it's
they
not
like
like-
started
yeah.
telling out.
so
No.
on a note, let's wrap up. We don't need to be talking about Nebraska here. Okay. I don't want to give this
It was
guy
hard to
airtime.
watch. It was hard to
Yeah,
watch.
It was hard to watch. That's all we'll say. And yeah, so when we come back, we got some stories between me and Adair about Lincoln in Lincoln and getting up to a bit of shenanigans. But yeah, let's hit our first ad.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. That also happens to have delicious meats and fresh veggies all sandwiched between fresh baked bread. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Thank you to Jimmy John's for sponsoring today's episode. Jimmy John's is doing the deal of the century right now for all of the frat bros and sorority girls out there. Hopefully our main audience here, guys. So right now they're doing a contest. If you set up an account with Jimmy John's for your sorority or frat house, whoever orders the most sandwiches will win a free Jimmy John's branded ping pong table. And you can play whatever you want on that pong table, and it'll be Jimmy John's branded. So if you're in a frat or sorority, hit Jimmy John's up. Go start spending some money on those sandwiches. But yeah, let's hear from some satisfied customers.
I love it when Jimmy John brings the meats.
When my ladies are hungry, the only place that I bring them is Jimmy John's.
The smells are free.
They're so free.
Yeah, seems like some pretty satisfied customers. Just call the Jimmy John's on Arapahoe
That
and
person sounded satisfied.
no, she was super satisfied.
She sounded satisfied. Like
She was definitely
I don't know who that
satisfied.
was. She actually ran out of here. She sounded super
She's
satisfied.
peeking.
She's speaking.
Speak.
So yeah, just
peeked at Jimmy
just
John's.
call the Jimmy John's on Arapahoe today and set up a account for your frat or sorority and start racking up those sandwich points. Thanks, Jimmy John's. Alrighty, well, for all of you big CRM fans out there, Boulder CRM, today's sponsor, are the creators of Bold Text and Call. It's powered by 360 SMS and CTI. And let me tell you, they are really the only natively built calling and texting app for the Salesforce platform, period. Nobody else is in the game like them. And Adair, actually, I heard you are a major Boulder CRM fan.
I mean, what can I say? No one CRM's harder than Boulder CRM.
I mean, it's just a fact. Like, and especially if you think about that, like, you know, using it in business sense, you know, like, I mean, if we were to just start sending out texts to all of our fans, you know, we have way too many fans to just be
It's too
texting
much.
individuals.
I don't know
So
how we
that's where
do
that
it.
SMS texting, and especially, you know, with businesses trying to get in contact with people, those calling platform is what really puts Bold Text and Call really just so far and beyond the competition. And we cannot thank Boulder CRM enough. They are incredible people. Boulder CRM, we love you with all our heart.
We love you guys. Thank you.
We're back to talk about some stories. Lincoln went to Lincoln for the Lincoln game.
Lincoln
Lincoln
in
Squared.
Lincoln.
Lincoln
Yeah.
Squared, bro.
Squared.
So let me give you just a bit of a rundown here. So I took the midnight train to Lincoln. We left at
Train.
yeah, literally I could not stop thinking about that. I took the train. It left
Thank
at
you.
7. We got in at 3 a.m. and there was probably 3 dozen CU fans on that train.
That is so lit.
And I'm talking all the way from like 60 something down to there was like a 12-year-old,
Dude.
and it was
12-year-old
nuts.
Puerto
I mean, I've ridden the train a couple times. You don't ever think like party train. That's never really a word that comes to mind for the
Party
Amtrak.
bus,
Party
train.
bus, party plane, you know, but not party train. Everyone was pretty much up until 3 a.m. I think like one by one people were going to bed, but there was Me and these 3 guys, incredible men, were up the entire ride. And I mean, that there's like the quiet car, where all the seats are, but then there is kind of like an observation and hangout car, and every table was full at one point. You had you had all of the Friday night NFL games playing on people's laptops. I genuinely, if I had to guess,
How hot was it on that car though?
it was toasty.
It was
But
toasty,
if I had to
Is there a
guess,
bar?
there was a bar, but everyone pretty much brought their own beer. And so here's what I'm getting to. If I had to guess, probably 300 beers were drank on this train
Oh my god.
between probably 50. I mean, there was one
How
guy
many of
who
those were the
he
60-year-old guy?
confidently
The 60-year-old guy. How many of those were
he had
Rose?
18
18.
by himself.
beers.
And actually, I think he got that number up. He might have crossed over into 20.
We were talking like a whole case of banquets.
No, okay, Coors Lights.
Oh, okay.
Which
Started talking banquets. I was about to say this. Guy's
that would be nuts. I don't know how you'd fill your. I don't know how you'd be
You'd be
able
sick.
to fit
You'd
that
be
in your
sick.
stomach. No, so I mean, it was so fun. I cannot emphasize. I am so glad I did that over driving, because I tried to find a ride and I couldn't get a ride out there, and I looked at plane tickets and it was like $1,200. So my $119 Amtrak was just the most fun route to Lincoln. And I mean, I'm talking, there was a guy, so I want to share this story. There was this guy, he I'll say 50s to 60s if he's listening, I'll be nice to him. But he was going to CU. He was going to the CU in the 80s, and when the rivalry was like at its peak, right?
When we were still yellow.
Yeah. And he goes, they would get this like massive group of guys together each year to go out. And at one point they were sponsored by Lincoln Town Cars, like like the local Lincoln dealership or something, or a rental car agency, like gave them for free Lincoln cars to take. And, eventually the deal stopped because, a couple cars didn't make it back, is how he put it. But the story I want to tell, the first story here that just had me dying, is one day, one game, they went all dressed up as Abraham Lincoln to go to the Lincoln game. Like, I'm
You
talking,
have to do that.
like,
Why
this
do you do
isn't
that?
just like some boring like frat theme party. I'm talking, they were all in black suits, white shirt, the classic like
Beard.
bow tie, all beards, some of them real, some of them fake, it didn't matter, and then top hats. And the next game, so here's the hilarious part. The next game, they come back and they're talking to some guy, and it's like, did you see all the Hasidic Jews that were here last year?
we see you as a huge
Hasidic Jew
Jewish
population.
Like,
How do you think they got to the game?
I will say, half of the Amtrak trains, half the people on them, I swear, are all Mennonites. Like, which, if you don't know what a Mennonite is, it's like essentially a Amish people, but they get a bit more freedom. Like, this guy had like a flip phone. I saw one of them guys have, but I don't know. I don't think they're allowed to get on airplanes, so they pretty
So
much
had
have
to
to
take the
take the train. And they were getting lit. Like, they weren't drinking.
But they were lit up.
They weren't drinking, but they were having a hoot and a holler. Like, there was just this one guy, I don't think he ever spoke a single word, but he was just like listening in on me and like these two like college-aged kids' conversation, just like nodding really
And smiling.
enthusiastically. And like, I'm dropping
so
hard
cute.
curse words, and like we're getting pretty hilarious there. And he's just dying. He's eating it up. This is his TV, because I'm
I'm sure he's never seen anything like it.
I wish he would have started saying that he just started jigging. Like, just started jigging.
Oh, well, that
Just
reminds me.
dancing in
There
the
was
middle of the car train.
one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. This other guy, just random guy, who was taking the train all the way to like Pittsburgh or somewhere, and from California, and he brought his guitar. And like, he was just dead silent, but he just starts playing this beautiful just melody.
Oh my god.
Just like almost like, I want to say almost like a classical-esque guitar. And I have the audio, and I mean, it was just, I was mesmerized. Like, he kept just staring at me, just kind of like vibing out. And this is like
You liked
What
it?
kind of
this
guitar
is
was
like
it? Was it
definitely
just
your standard like acoustic guitar. And he was like an older gentleman, not like 60s, but definitely like 50s. And I mean, I was mesmerized. Anyways, so we get in at 3 a.m. And I screwed up. I booked the cheapest hotel I could find. And of course, that meant it said Fairfield Inn, Lincoln, Crete. I thought Crete was like a neighborhood. It was actually 30 minutes away. 34 minutes to be exact. And so I pass out, I go to bed. Oh, I also I accidentally booked my hotel for, instead of Friday, Saturday, I booked it Saturday, Sunday. So
Did you end up getting a refund or no?
I'm still working on it. But so I had to pay. I was now going into the game broke because I just bought a way more expensive hotel room than I had booked.
Right? Yeah.
And then she was like, so because it's so late, I'm gonna have to give you the room with all the problems. So
Which
the AC was so cold. The AC was so bad, and then the lights in the bathroom just wouldn't turn on. And the bathroom was like
dark.
the bathroom. I don't know if they had just polished it or something, but it felt so weird stepping on the tile. The word I would use to describe it was moist.
It was wet?
Like dewy.
Like lubricated?
No, not quite lubricated.
What was going on in that bathroom?
Oh God, she said there were problems in that room.
What kind of problems are we talking about?
Well, did you touch the floor at all with your feet?
Yes.
Gross. You probably have something now.
Yeah.
Did you lay down on that floor?
Did I lay down on the bathroom floor?
No, on the hotel room floor.
Why would I lay down on the hotel room floor?
Sniff or something? Free smells?
Free smell.
Free smells?
Shout out Jimmy John's. But so
dude, seriously, have you guys heard that deal? If you have not, get on that. That ping pong thing.
Okay, hold up.
Crazy.
They only paid for 45 seconds. So let's move
sorry.
on. No, so then game day comes. I cannot get an Uber to come pick me up. I placed
How did you get there?
I placed 4 Ubers. They all like timed out.
34 minutes is crazy.
So I genuinely
on Uber.
How much
yeah,
was
it was gonna.
$100?
It kept saying like 100 or like $84 or something. It kept going up, but thankfully it didn't go through because then I was scrambling and I go on Facebook and it's like Crete community, and I wish now I'm making it sound like the story is I got a ride from the Facebook group. Even better, while I'm doing this, I see these 2 people check out, but I'm not paying attention, and then I look up and they're both repping all red. And they're already outside. They're already like closing the doors on their truck, like loading their stuff up. So I just stand up, leave my computer, leave everything, start running. And I'm like, pardon me. Are you guys going to Memorial Stadium? I promise I'm a good kid. Can I just catch a ride?
I promise I'm not a bad guy.
I'm not a buff.
My name's Lincoln.
So here's something that I don't think we touched on enough early on. You know, we've kind of been trashing Nebraska fans as mean. I was so pleasantly shocked at just how kind all of these fans were to me. Keep in mind, I'm not in red. I'm repping a gold tie. These 2 fans, they get me a Blizzard at Dairy Queen.
What?
They stopped at Dairy Queen on the way, bought me a
They
Blizzard.
bought you a Blizzard?
So
And then even better,
How old were they?
they were probably same deal, like middle-aged
Middle-aged.
couple, just great people. And they also, funny enough, I was trying to get a ride back, and I had to stay for the Dion conference, and I wasn't going to ask them, and then I looked, and it was like $200 for an Uber. So I texted them. I was like, hey, is there any chance? And they're like, of course, we were just getting in the car. We'll wait for you. You just you got to fill us in on all the details of the Dion conference. And of course, so they waited like an hour after the game.
Oh my God.
At least, at least an hour, if not like an hour and a half.
Kind souls.
Oh my God.
And then drove me back. And I wish I would have like gotten their number or something to like send them flowers or something. Cause I mean, class acts. And so
funny how life works out though, huh?
right. And then the other thing was, I was just going to all the tailgates. Cause so I got there, I had to check out at noon. Right.
Yep.
Kickoff's at 6:30. So I had 6.5 hours and I was like, I'll just go to the tailgates, you know, cause media check-in was like 1:30, but the press box is not popping. I'll put it that way. So I was rocking the Omaha Steaks tailgate. The Omaha Steaks tailgate. It was all free. They had so much beer that they were giving out. They had like hard liquor they were giving out, and they had like 3 TVs set up showing all the different games. And then obviously they were just grilling Omaha Steaks and giving them out. But the best
You got
part,
an Omaha steak, right?
oh yeah. They gave me a full one. Like they were cutting them in the strips. They gave me a full one. And so here's why I bring it up. I'm sitting there and I look across the aisle from me, like across the tent, and I just see this guy and he's repping an Olympic gold medal on his chest.
What?
Just casually. And I go up to him and I was like, is that real? And he was like, yup. And I was like, where?
What's your
From
name?
where? And he was like, you ever heard of the Miracle on Ice?
No.
Yeah.
No, you did not. What are you about to say? Who is
So here's the preface. He was not on the team.
Oh my God.
But his friend was and let him borrow the medal. So this guy
For the
actually,
game?
yeah,
Do you know what this is?
I don't know.
the
my
Miracle
gosh,
on
okay.
Ice,
Dude,
one of
what
the
is
Can I,
this?
can I set the
Yeah.
scene for? Okay, dude. Cold War.
Okay.
1970.
Okay.
peak
Okay.
Cold
Peak
War.
Cold War. We are about to lose the race to the moon, to Russia, to the
Yeah.
USSR.
Yeah.
We're about to lose a lot. Like
This was definitely after
No,
we
no,
had won the
oh, yeah,
space race.
I know, but I thought that was like the start of it. I thought we were like losing, and then
Oh yeah, are you hyping? Okay,
was
I thought
hyping
you were.
up, yeah. I was
Okay,
giving
go
some
ahead. I'm
history to
sorry.
her. Sorry, my bad. Okay. Anyways, we're like losing the war. Like not like losing, but like things are looking like we're actually going to go to war with Russia, right?
Yeah.
The
Fast forward a couple
greatest-
years.
The greatest hockey team known to man is the USSR, Russia, the Soviet Union. Okay, they have not lost a game
Okay.
in like, I don't want to say ever, but like
Decades.
decades. They hill teams, right? They are some of the most well coached. They have said it is the greatest hockey team on earth. The USA sends out a team that has never played together before.
They've never played together.
And no
and this is
NFL or no NHL
teams.
players.
Every kid under that team was under the age of 25 years old. Yep, their goalie was 21 years old.
How did that
our age.
happen? Like,
Hold
how
on,
did they
ready?
send these
Hold on,
people
ready?
out?
Hold on.
It
This
gets
is
better.
this is crazy. We play them at the USSR one game. They destroy us. They shit on us, right?
Yeah.
We lose. He pulls us back. There is a movie on this. You have to go watch. It's called Miracle. It's on Disney.
Okay.
Chills. Every time I'm getting goosebumps
You're
right now.
goosebumps
No,
right
literally, bro, like I'm
now.
going crazy.
This
Okay.
man's hair is.
You guys
sticking
don't understand this movie. If you have not seen it, okay.
I gotta watch it.
They go to Lake Placid. USSR says, "Fuck it. I mean, we'll go to the US, even though no one was going to the US at this time, right?
Yeah.
We had the Olympics in Russia. We flew to Russia to Lake. Anyways,
No. Lake Placid
Was
is
that Lake Placid?
New York. I'm
Okay,
pretty
was that,
sure.
Okay, then was that? I'm sorry, my
It was
facts are a little messed up here.
76, I want to say.
But it was
Or
at Lake
78.
Placid. We play one game with this team. We play them in not even the championship.
Okay.
This is just the opener. The speech that he says is, we play this team 10 times out of 10. They beat us 9 times out of 10. This is our one game.
Oh.
This is our one moment. They go out with nobodies. No one knew a single name on their team. And we beat them in overtime. What was it, 3-4? 3-2?
So, anyways,
Oh my
It was
Great
God.
story,
and
right?
Listening to him go, "Do you believe in miracles? Do you believe in miracles?" It is one of the craziest
Yeah.
clips of all time, and it's
so
That's
bro, it is a real
insane.
thing. It's like
Um,
real history. It
couple
is,
fact checks. So this was 1980.
he had the
This man is repping the gold medal from that.
that is crazy.
One of the players played a real gold medal.
And they weren't real like NHL hockey players.
No,
These
no,
were
no.
just college.
How'd they
college
find- oh,
kids.
They just found them.
They just had a huge tryout, and
Yeah.
everyone came in from everywhere,
Okay.
and they were like just started cutting people.
So before we go
that's
fully into Trey's breakdown of this movie, let's just for time here, we'll talk. I have 2 more crazy stories.
I want to hear them,
And then we'll wrap it. So-
I'm done with that actually. But
Okay.
it's insane.
That is
That is legit.
insane. I'm
The
gonna
fact that
watch
he had
that.
the fact that he had the medal is.
I know.
Was it cool
And
to take a picture?
yeah,
of it?
so he was like, yeah, I drove his son around like to college or something for him or something like that, and he was like, so he just let me borrow the medal.
You could wear it to the Nebraska game.
Yeah. And so the other one was, so then I'm in the press box, right? And I'm getting food and I'm in line with this guy and we start talking and people are calling him coach. And so I'm like, oh, did you coach at CU? He's like, yeah, for a decent amount. And I was like, oh, did you know Mark Wetmore, who was CU's longtime track coach? And he was like, yeah, I knew her or knew him. And he was like, yeah, so my mom actually coached for Mark Wetmore, And so we start talking really about track and I finally see his name tag and it says Gary Barnett, who was CU's head coach for the 90s until 2005,
I was gonna say
had a winning record
yeah,
at
took him on the
CU
run.
to put us on a great run.
90s run, right?
Yeah, that wasn't our natty.
Oh.
That wasn't our natty, but he replaced. We've brought him up like 3 times now. The coach that he replaced,
I
but
know his name either, but
anyways, lastly, in terms of people I met, then I am sitting down. I need to find a place to sit, and I don't know anybody, so I go up to this table, and I'm like, "Hey, is this seat taken?" And this really kind black guy is like, "No, go ahead." And he's like, kind of, your elderly black man, and it just says he's like credentialed for Nebraska So I'm assuming he's like doing color commentary for them or something. We're talking. We have a 20-minute conversation. Oh, just salt of the earth, genuine guy. And I'm like, alrighty, well, thanks so much for talking with me. It was a pleasure. My name's Lincoln. This man puts his hand out, and I see his Heisman rings, and he says, Tommy Rogers, nice to meet you. Nebraska, I think Nebraska's first Heisman Trophy winner. So I get him to film a video of, first he has me take a picture with him where we're both doing the Heisman little thing, iconic. I'll post it with the show notes, and then I get him to film a video for my grandma where he's like, "Hey, Louise, Tommy Rogers here. Just wanted to say hi and tell you, I had one of the best games in my life against Colorado when we won."
Was he a nice guy?
He was a great guy, and so yeah, I think I'll finish.
I think you met someone else too.
Oh yeah, I met Chip.
Met Chip.
Yeah, so so towards the end, when we realized like, oh, the game's lost, me and my our sports editor Charlie for the CU Independent, we went on the roof because media were allowed on the roof.
The videos of that, by the way, are unreal.
So
check out the Instagram.
Yeah, check out the Instagram. You can see our Instagram reel.
How beautiful it is.
We've probably now hit over 100,000 views on that post.
Woo.
Go us! And
that's crazy.
But the buff, that's
I know. And so the views from that were immaculate. And then I go on the field for the kind of the end of the game just to, see what's up, right? And so I'll take blame here. I don't think I was actually credentialed to be on the field, but just walking in with a suit holding like a microphone while my buddy had a camera, they just kind of let us in. Yeah, I go up to Chip and I do the most, I am just, the energy brought something out in me that just had been dormant for a long time. And
came out.
I'm just like, because then also the microphone on our camera, it's this tiny little Rode mic, and trying to be able to be heard in that stadium. The fans are about to rush the field. I'm screaming. And so this video, it's just insane. And it's like me being like, we can win this game. Do you think we can win? And like Chip is just like, he can't talk, but he's just shaking his arm. So that's my story. But
on cuter terms, my baby cousin saw that picture of you with Chip, and she goes, "Aw, is that Cracker?" I go, "Yes."
Cracker?
Yeah, she called him Cracker. She's like 3.
Oh, she called Chip Cracker.
I thought she called me a Cracker.
Oh my God, she's 3.
Okay.
She thought Chip's name was Cracker.
So
After dark.
So I guess we should probably wrap things up here. Just because the lights have gone on. So next week, hopefully we'll have a Dare's friend on.
And he can,
and he'll tell, he has a crazy Nebraska
story. He was in the student section.
We'll open with that story next week.
He'll tell you guys better than I can.
So yes, the lights have gone off in our recording booth. So
we also wanted to finish up with this is a football podcast, so we'll finish up with we play CSU next week. We don't have too much to say on it. We're not too worried. We are hoping the Buffs dust the floor with them. If you guys look at the Rams did have a slight win against UNC, but I'm not even going to count that.
Let's not forget about Texas though. And so here's what I'll say. So I want to read a couple things off from I was writing a little piece for the CU Independent here. So we're doing a collaborative issue with Nebraska, right? Or not with Nebraska, sorry, with the CSU newspaper, because they actually do print newspapers. So I wrote 2 articles for it. One, it was looking at essentially the feud between the 2 coaches, because Norvell and Sanders, last year had their infamous beef where Norvell, who's the coach for CSU, it was completely on CSU's side. He started the beef and then acted like Dion overreacted. So quick recap here, because I'm really excited to see what happens this year if they keep it going. There's a little. Trust me, I'll recap you, and we'll see. Norvell, he goes up there. Obviously, this is peak prime mania essentially, and he just dogs on Dion in this like unnecessarily in a podcast episode of his own, and he goes, "When I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat off and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me." And
Yeah.
Deion Sanders, if anything else, is known for loving his family, having
Family
very,
man.
very close connections with his
Such a
family.
respectable guy.
And so
Great father.
Yeah.
so literally on the Prime Video docuseries, they found Shador had to quite literally say, don't put your hands on him.
To Prime.
To Prime. Prime quite literally, his son had to remind him not to hit him at like because the Buffs have now won. The Buffs have now won. And, Jay Norvell is going up to shake Deion's hand. And then Jay Norvell is going on and on about it. I wasn't talking about your family. And he was like, you talking about my mama. You're talking about my mama. Like, I wish I could find the quote. And then they also, he infamously said the quote, they've gone around and made it personal.
It's
Yeah.
personal
It's
now.
personal.
It's personal.
And so here's why I think it might come back, because somebody asked Norvell about Sanders, and instead of saying, hey, I have a lot of respect for
yeah.
him or whatever, just like look at Matt Rule and Deion, have a great relationship. He goes on this rant about I don't think about Deion Sanders. I don't
Oh my
care
God.
about Deion
Yes,
Sanders.
You do.
And
all
it
do.
just came off, like, I watched the clip, it just came off so bad and disrespectful that I think
It's going to continue.
if somebody else doesn't, I'm going to ask the question on Wednesday here at the presser if Deion shows up. It's not always Deion who speaks, but if he shows up, I'm gonna ask him just point blank and see if Deion has anything to say. My prediction is Deion's the better man.
I agree.
Says bygones are bygones. I just want to win this game.
Like, you guys gotta see, like, this is all we said at the very beginning before we even walked in. There's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
No.
He's
Yeah.
trying to bring attention to CSU because
yeah.
we've been talking. Because who is CSU, right?
Yeah.
This is
They have nothing.
this on Saturday. They are preparing for their Super Bowl right now.
Yes.
Coach Norvell is preparing to play the hardest game on their gauntlet this year.
Yeah.
Right? CSU is their huge. This is like, if you're a Ram fan and we beat CU, that's a good year, right? Whereas as a CU fan, we try to get a bowl game, that's a good year. That's a real actual football goal. These guys, his goal is to beat us. And I remember last year that they had that little bit of beef for sure. I like you said, I see Deion kind of shrugging that off and being like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who are you?
I can also see him trying to hype everybody up, though, and maybe keeping it going.
I mean, I think last year there was just so much animosity also with the whole Travis Hunter hype and then him getting injured and
Yeah.
There's a
Henry,
lot.
remember those death threats and the
yeah.
Henry Blackburn guy and all that. I think there was so much surrounding that they got caught up in that anger for sure. But at the end of the game,
So
it is
either
a
way.
football game.
So I just want to wrap it up with this. So the other article I wrote, it was kind of a satire piece from, we couldn't use the name, image, or likeness of, I won't say our mascots' names, but from an anonymous buffalo to get around that. And so the CSU newspaper did the same kind of satire piece with their Rams, and they just came out and, alluded to CU students skiing in August is how I'll put it. So I responded with, I'll read you the 3 paragraphs I wrote. I think it's really kind that you guys have decided to include the word state on all your football jerseys instead of Colorado. Now none of our millions of fans around the country will accidentally order from your merch store. But enough about football. Let's talk about the good old country folk you call fans. I'm worried that the parking at Canvas Stadium can't fit all those massive lifted diesel trucks. I know that skirt Cam the Ram wears hides the massive equipment that none of the fans definitely lack. Or that all of the fans definitely lack. It also seems like you are pretty jealous of some of our ... winter activities. I'm sorry you can't afford a ski vacation of your own, but I hear it's cheaper if you freebase it.
Well, Lincoln, this year with the
Hold on, let me finish.
Dot.
Here in Boulder, we enjoy a good IPA and our high noons. But hey, PBRs and Natty Lights are definitely more affordable. So enjoy your dirty water.
I was about to say with our student passes this year, they might actually have more money than us.
Yes.
But back to the slander.
Well, no, because they don't make them pay for student
free.
passes.
It's free.
One might argue because it would really
Is it
affect
lackluster?
how many. I think it would affect
People
how
know
many
how many people
people would
go.
show up to their games if they made them pay. Who's
Also, guys,
willingly
like,
going to go pay money as a student to
wondered, like, low-key, like, where's the color orange come from?
No,
I see.
I can give you background to this. So the original, before it was Colorado State, it was Colorado A&M, and their original colors I think were green and orange. So that's where the orange comes from.
Okay, so
But,
that's what they call them, the old Aggies.
the old Aggies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I should note, I was really dogging on Cam the Ram. They had 3 mascots in the span of like 40 years before they settled. No. Just they had before they settled.
Well, I thought somebody stole the ram.
No,
That might be Nikita.
before they settled on Cam, they had like 3. They had 3 come and go that just like didn't work out. But so I think it's a good time to kind of wrap things up here.
A lot of my friends go to CSU, and they're gonna be pretty freaking sad this weekend. That's all
What's
I'm
up?
gonna say.
I think they're
Poundage.
gonna
Back to
be-
poundage, right?
Back to poundage. So let's go around and let's give our last thoughts. Any hot takes? Any statements you want to make?
The hottest take is that we are going to absolutely buff the crap out of CSU.
Buff around and find out.
Buff around and find out. And I'm gonna make my pitch again here, for getting a hype song for CU. And so when I was at Nebraska, 3rd quarter going into the 4th, they bring out these giant cannons that are shooting flames up. They have drones. They have drones showing their mascot, the Corn Husker, and like it is just electric. It's a light show. They are like, so it's funny. So it starts with, if you guys have seen they stole it from like the NHL or something, but like the scoreboard crashes and then they restart it and it's like the max screen and it goes to Spotify and it's like play hype music, your playlist, emergency hype playlist. But so they have this song, obviously being an Alabama fan myself, you have Dixieland Delight, in Denny Stadium, you have Rocky Top in Tennessee, you have these songs that like 3rd, 4th quarter, that gap, the whole crowd is screaming the lyrics. And I think Colorado needs one of those. And I am making my case. I'm campaigning for Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash to be our hype song. So
Is that hype enough?
I think so. I think it's hype. You think Dixieland Delight is not a hype song?
My can I throw a song in there?
Yeah.
Mine is on Dark Days by Everclear Soundgarden, probably.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have one?
No, I will give you one next week.
I think
On to
Folsom
Darker
Prison
Days, I think.
Blues
Something like that by.
I think it's
I like
incredible.
the Folsom Blues.
Right?
Honestly.
That is a good call.
I hear the
But
train a
I don't
coming.
know if that's
It's
a
rolling
rolling
around.
around.
We're gonna listen to it after this, and next week we'll see. So we should definitely
So I'm talking
get
Folsom
this thing-
Prison. That's awesome.
right because Folsom
imprisoning
Field.
everybody. in
Exactly.
Folsom
You're
Field.
stuck in Folsom Prison.
You can't
Steal
leave
all the Rams,
Yeah.
because
guys.
we stole all of the Rams.
So
In
yeah,
my
stole all the basement.
Yo, you guys are hearing that? Check out Adair's
Yeah.
basement.
Adair's basement goes hard.
It goes crazy.
Goes crazy. But on a real note here, thanks again to Jimmy John's and Boulder CRM for sponsoring today's episode, and I think we will talk to you next week.
Miss you
As
guys.
always, Sco Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
Go Buffs.